Have you ever looked at a price chart and just seen, well, a bunch of random squiggles? It's easy to see it as just noise. But what if it's not noise at all? What if it's actually a language? A visual story about the constant battle between buyers and sellers. Today, we're going to dive in and learn the basic grammar of that story. So take a good look at this chart. Right now, it might not look like much, but I promise by the end of this explainer, you're going to start seeing the story that's playing out here, the fundamental story of supply and demand. All right, so let's start with the absolute basics, the grammar of it all, support and resistance. The easiest way to think about them, they're basically just floors and ceilings that the price bounces off of. First up, we've got support. So imagine the price is a bouncing ball. Support is the floor. It's a price level where a whole bunch of buyers tend to step in, creating this big pocket of demand that stops the price from falling any lower. It's the zone where the market kind of goes, you know what? This looks cheap. Let's buy. And you guessed it, if support is the floor, then resistance is the ceiling. As that bouncing ball, the price, flies up, it hits this level where sellers start thinking, okay, this is getting a little pricey. They start to sell, creating this wall of supply that can slow down or even turn around that upward move. It's the market saying, all right, that's high enough for now. So to put it simply, support is the floor, that's a demand zone where buyers are in control. Resistance is the ceiling, a supply zone where sellers are calling the shots. They're just two sides of the very same coin, showing us that constant push and pull in the market. Okay, theory is great, right? But how do we actually find these floors and ceilings on a real-life chart? Let's get into the practical side of things and figure out how to spot these levels and really start to see the market's structure. These are the clues you're looking for. The most obvious ones are what we call swing highs and swing lows, basically the peaks and valleys you see on the chart. Those are your natural turning points. You also want to look for levels that have been tested before, and a big clue is how strongly the price moves away from them. And here is a super important rule of thumb. One touch at a price level? Could be random. But when the price respects a level at least twice, bouncing off that floor or getting smacked down from that ceiling, that level suddenly becomes way more significant. It's a sign that a lot of people are all reacting to that same price. And you really want to pay attention to what we call a huge move away. When the price just touches a level and then rockets away from it, that is a massive signal. It's basically the market screaming at you that there's a huge imbalance between buyers and sellers right there. That is a level you want to keep your eye on. Now hold on, before we go any further, we have to talk about some really crucial rules of engagement here. Because spotting these levels is one thing, but knowing their limits, that's just as important. This is not about finding some magic crystal ball. This might be the single most important thing to remember. We're not talking about some laser-precise, single price point. Markets are messy. They're driven by human beings. So you have to think of these as broad areas or zones where a reaction is likely to happen, not an exact price down to the penny. And please, please remember, context is everything. No single level exists in a vacuum. You always have to look at the bigger picture, the overall market trend. This is a tool for analysis, for understanding the structure of the market, not some system for predicting what's going to happen next. And this brings us to the big warning sign. Just because a level worked 5 times in the past, that does not guarantee it's going to work the 6th time. Every single moment in the market is totally unique. So again, use this as a map to understand the landscape, not as a crystal ball. So let's tie all of this together. What is the big takeaway here? We've gone from the theory to the practical to the all-important warnings. Really, the whole point is to shift how you see the chart in the first place. The entire reason we learn to spot support and resistance is to turn that chaotic-looking chart into something that has a clear structure. It's about being able to read the story the market is telling you right now. It's about knowing where the key battle lines are drawn, not trying to guess who's going to win the next fight. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, right? If this whole thing isn't about predicting the future, then what is the point? What do these charts, these floors and ceilings actually show us? Well, what they reveal is the collective psychology of the market. They're like footprints in the sand, showing us where fear, greed, and uncertainty have been. And understanding that, well, that's a powerful thing. Thanks for joining me.